AAA games are like a climax in high school. They finish long before they are ready and leave everyone disappointed. Friends and folks, welcome to the Kaiju Lounge, your home for humor, opinions, and nerd. I'm your Boss Monster Noah Waterman, and I recently purchased Jedi Survivor to play on my high-end gaming PC. Some of you already know where this is going, but bear with me. I loved Fallen Order. Heard good things about this game, got excited, and dropped the cash to get the game rolling. Now, let's forget the fact that it took forever to download and I couldn't play it on day one. Let's then forget the fact that it took just as long to download the day one patch, something that, if it was day one, should have been with the original download, and I couldn't play it on day two. Finally found the time to play it on day three, medium settings across the board, and it was like driving to Connecticut in rush hour, stop and go traffic. Every 5 seconds it was skipping 10 frames. Got about 2 hours of playtime, saved, and stopped. Next day I came back, it loses my save data. 2 hours of great gameplay and stop motion pacing down the drain. Sucks, but not a deal breaker. I'll play it again. Except now for some reason, it's loading like internet porn in the 90s. I even drop it down to low settings, turning everything off. Ray tracing, motion blur, Valve's ill-advised 5 o'clock shadow, and it still plays red light, green light with my FPS. I tried to muscle through it and it crashed on me twice before I can even hit my first prayer circle, whatever. In related news, did you know that Steam offers refunds on digital purchases? Hit the like button if you did. I get that Jedi Survivor runs fine on consoles. That's excellent. If it's ready for consoles, then release it on consoles. But it is far too apparent that it was not ready for this. They obviously know as much because they issued a statement. We are aware that Star Wars Jedi Survivor isn't performing to our standards for percentage of our PC players, in particular, those with high-end machines or certain specific configurations. No shit. For example, and this one's rich, players using cutting-edge multi-threaded chipsets designed for Windows 11 were encountering problems on Windows 10, or high-end GPUs coupled with lower-performing CPUs also saw unexpected frame loss. Sounds like the nerdiest form of victim blaming. Now, granted, I'm no PC expert, but I feel confident that I built a system that lines up together pretty well. I can play a game like Elden Ring or Assassin's Creed Valhalla in jaw-dropping detail, yet I can't run this game at its lowest setting despite outpacing the recommended specs. Specs, I assume, you would have confirmed against the actual hardware? You either didn't playtest this, or you didn't care. And this is the crux of what I want to get at today. The need to run before you walk. To have the best of every corporate and commercial buzzword you think gamers care about. Every game is looking to break boundaries, defy expectations, and push what it means to be a video game. Unfortunately, good is not on the list. Take Redfall, the recently released shooter by Arcane. Hard to not get excited about an open-world co-op adventure blasting vampires like you drop Borderlands into Buffy the Vampire Slayer, made by the team behind Dishonored and Deathloop, amazing games in their own right. However, the game is getting universally panned in every review, and not even because it's buggy, though the pop-ins, missing assets, and setters aren't helping the fact. It just seems like it's badly designed. Crappy AI that poses no real threat, recycled missions that get old fast, and a story that refuses to draw you in. It just wasn't ready. And the truth is, you can't blame the developers, specifically the people at the computers coding, designing, and putting together the game day to day. The blame lies at the top. The people with the checklist, they're the ones going through asking, is it open world? Check. Are there 5 different currencies? Checked. Have they subscribed to the YouTube channel? Have you? They're not playing the game to see if it's actually good. That's why Phil Spencer popped onto Kinda Funny recently and took the fall, which kudos for him, by the way. Ubisoft, you could learn a thing or two from him. The directive of the gameplay and release window comes from the top. If something's ambitious and not matching up, you have playtesters who are there telling you. How else would you have a day one patch ready to go on day one? You have ground floor people who can say this isn't working yet. You pull back, reassess, and change. You remember the original look of Borderlands? That's what they did and became a franchise getting its own movie with Kevin Hart. Now, Phil also mentions that delaying the game wouldn't have fixed the creative. Let's call pause on that, sir. If time couldn't fix it, what would? Money? You had $68.7 billion to drop on the den of iniquity that is Activision Blizzard. And if a good studio like Arcane could make this under your watch, how will a once great games as a disservice studio fare? Maybe the answer is expectation. We don't have the tools yet to do everything people want to do. So instead of the buzzwords directing story and gameplay, shouldn't story and gameplay inform the buzzwords? Good games sell games. Great games sell brands, and brands are going to make you a lot more money. Look at Nintendo. And notice I said Nintendo and not the Pokemon Company. You bug-eyed freaks know what you did. Zelda gets delayed. Metroid Prime 4 gets delayed. Hell, the Mario wrestling game becomes Mario Strikers. Sure, it's annoying and disappointing when it happens, but when we get those games, we know they pass the smell test, and at worst, they are fine games lost to the passage of time. It doesn't even need to be perfect. Skyrim remains buggy as hell every time I check it out, but that hasn't stopped them from releasing it on every platform, from Xbox to Switch to the Amazon Echo, because it's still a fun game that's nearly old enough to become a man in the Jewish community. The age of the internet has given companies permission to drop their trash on us with the promise that they'll pick it up later. I'm old enough to remember a time that when a game was released, it was done. Super Mario World had to outpace and outperform Super Mario 3, so they made sure that every part of the game was actually fun and playable before releasing the market. Yes, there were soulless cash grabs. Mario and Sonic had their rocky rodents just like PUBG and Fortnite had their Ninjala, but there is a reason those money-making franchises still exist all these years later. I'm more interested in spending my money on Yacht Club games than I am on EA because of the consistency and quality that has far outpaced the AAA studios. Team Cherry has taken forever to release the follow-up to Hollow Knight, and yes, I've been very vocal about how I feel about that online. However, make no mistake, I would rather they take their time than release whatever happened here. So please, game companies, stop f***ing us. Slow down, pace yourselves, and communicate. At least then you can pull out before you make a mess. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this, then check out my podcast, The Best Game of All Time, here, where we rate, rank, and review every game ever made. And if you didn't like this, then you can hate watch my opinions about VR here. And it's high cost for very little reward. Until next time, stay cool, stay hip, stay heavy.